Hi, it's Lucia. In this video we'll be getting to know the bow. There are several different parts to the bow. This end we call the heel, this end we call the tip. At the heel we've got the screw, the frog, the lapping, and then the hair and the stick which take us to the end, and that's just known as the tip. The first part I'd like to talk about is actually the screw. To make sure your bow lasts a really long time, it's really important that you loosen the hair on your bow whenever you put it away. And that involves turning it to your left. We call it lefty-loosey. Now don't do it too far, maybe you want 3 or 4 turns, and we want the hair to be nice and loose like this. You'll notice that the stick actually is curved inwards. In the middle, the hair is almost touching, but at either end there's a nice big gap. And when you take your bow out, we're not going to do lefty-loosey, we're going to do righty-tighty. And again, don't turn it too far. You'll know you've gone far enough when you've still got a bit of a curve inwards, and the gap in its narrowest point is about as big as your little finger. The next thing we need to do is rosin the bow. Now you won't need to do this every time you practice, but depending on how much you practice, maybe about once a week or every other time you play. Rosin is actually tree sap, and you'll see that the surface of mine is quite smooth. Now it's very important to try and keep it smooth, otherwise the rough edges will not be good for your bow hair. So my top tip for this is to cover up the metal with your thumb when you're rosining your bow, and just give it a really good scrub all the way up and down. Lots of people get into the habit of scrubbing at the heel, fast tracking to the tip, and scrubbing at the tip. But have a think about it. What's the part of the bow that you use the most? It's actually the middle, isn't it? So make sure you've got a really good coverage all the way up and down, and then maybe one quick one all the way to the end to make sure that it's all even. Now you might be wondering why we do this. If you've ever had a new bow that has no rosin on it, you will find that no sound really comes out of the violin. Think of it like the chalk that gymnasts put on their hands when they're using the apparatus. It stops them from slipping because it makes friction between their hands and whatever apparatus they're on. So that's how the bow works. The rosin makes friction between the strings and the hair, and those vibrations are what make the sound. Once you've put the rosin on your bow hair, be careful not to touch the hair too much. Firstly, you'll get very sticky fingers because rosin is pretty sticky. And secondly, no matter how clean your hands are, you have got natural oils on your fingers, and if you touch the hair, you might find that when you pull the bow across the string, you'll find a point where it goes very quiet, and that will be where the oil from your fingers is on top of the rosin. Now for the important part, how to hold your bow. Now, I'm sure you know we will be holding it in your right hand, but for now I'd like you to hold it with your left hand, just somewhere in the middle. Again, make sure you're not touching the hair, and then we can get your right hand ready. So the bow hold wants to be nice and curved all the time. So I'd like you to make a rabbit finger puppet with me, okay? So the rabbit's got a nice curved chin with the thumb, it's not a wolf like this. So nice and curved with your thumb, you've got your 2 middle fingers as the teeth covering up your thumbnail, and these 2 fingers for now will be the ears, okay? Now bring your bow up, open your rabbit's mouth, and the first thing I want you to do is just place your thumb in this gap here. There's a gap between the frog and the lapping where your thumb should fit nicely. Now notice you can see all of my thumbnail, okay? Make sure you're not doing this. It's what I call sticking out the rabbit's tongue. We want to see the thumbnail like this. We're going to keep an eye on your thumb because it will have a tendency to want to go straight. Okay, but we want to keep it curved. I can actually feel the bow hair on the front of my thumb. Okay. Next thing we want to do is put the rabbit's teeth on. Now you remember before we were hiding the thumbnail, so we want to do that again. The top joint is just curving over the bow stick. Okay. We then would like to put on our little finger. It shouldn't be really up close because actually your little finger's got a really big job to do. It's going to sit just on the part of the bow that's towards you. If it's on the top or that side, it's going to slip off and it won't be very useful, but it needs to be nice and strong there. Tapping it a few times is really good, and make sure that's on its tip as well. Now check your thumb, is it still curved? Hope so. So let's tap your little finger again, and then your pointy finger is just going to rest on its side like this. So it's not quite as low as the other two fingers, it's just a little bit higher. Now if you let go with your left hand, you might feel that the weight of the bow has gone into your little finger. Now don't worry if yours isn't looking quite like mine at the moment. That is our goal. But at the moment your little finger might be quite weak. It has no other jobs to do on its own in everyday life. So suddenly having to hold a long stick of wood is quite taxing for it. But there are ways that we can strengthen it. If every day you do what I call pinky push-ups, which is pressing down on your little finger and lifting your bow up a little bit, that will get much stronger. Maybe start with 5, and next time you could start with 5, and if it's feeling good, up it to 10, and then 15. You get the idea. Let's just check that your thumb is still curved. The first time you try a bow hold, it will feel a bit alien, but as with everything, if you practice it lots, ideally every day, it will start to feel much more natural. And if you don't have a chance to get your violin out, why not try practicing it on a pen or a pencil, or anything else you find that can act as your bow.